All right, I'm sorry about that. I know what I was thinking. I just saw wealth. No, I saw BYB community, and then the live was over the wealth part. So I'm scrolling. I said, wait a minute. This is supposed to be live. Then you remember I went to Jackson State, so not that bright. And isn't that right, Miss Fredericks? I wasn't fortunate enough to attend FAMU, the higher heels or something. Mr. Rogers said the higher heels, whatever he says. Some of us are not that fortunate. The rolling heels of some people can't RSVP, so you're supposed to RSVP for the oh, okay. I didn't think I was supposed to RSVP, but I guess everything you have to RSVP now. Should I wear a tuxedo? Should I take off my hoodie and put on a tuxedo since I'm RSVPing? All right. You know what's funny? Same 5%ers. Same group of people. You sure some of these people in this BYB connection not just phone, like pay phone numbers? Dang. Nah, I'm just joking, but that's about right. I don't know how many in here, but if it's 200, what's 5% of 200? 10% is 20. 5% is 10. We might be hitting above the average. That's sad. I should train on that a lot. I should say, partner of mine would say it's over 300. So 5% would be 15. That's what we at then. We at 16. We high. We over the percentage. Wow. So, but I used to tell my partner all the time. Well, not my partner. This lady that was growing in business, and she said she had over 400 people on her team. And I said to her, you have one leader, which is you. She said, no, I got more leaders. I said, no, you don't. I don't even have to talk to them. I already know the numbers. If you got 1,000 people, you got 3 leaders. But it's 400, it's just you. It's folks acting like, but they can't lead. They can't put a business on their back and go somewhere and present, enroll, bring folks in, train them. I've seen the numbers over the years. It blows me away. 1,000 people, you got 3 leaders. 2,000 people, you got 6. Maybe 6 leaders who can do the whole shebang. Those are the numbers. Those are the numbers. She was just totally, she started naming some people out of her 400. I said, if you wasn't around and they had to go somewhere by themselves to another city and do a meeting, not only do a meeting, do the meeting. I mean, like, do a meeting is setting it up, getting the meeting space, having everything you're supposed to have there, and then actually do the meeting, that person do the meeting and close it out, shut it down, train people. That's a leader. You might have some workers, some people who, but they not about to do that. I know some people say, well, it's a little different now, Tony, is, you know, everything is online and everything. Yeah, that make them less of a leader then, because if all they got to do is turn on this screen here and start talking, and they think that's being lead, you think that's leadership, that make you less of a leader, because when you have to do something like that, you're gonna look really foolish. What if all this, you know, like the grid shut down, which they talking about, you know, you hear that all the time, but that could be some, you know, Illuminati stuff. But I mean, who knew about COVID? That was, so how you know the grid can't shut down and there's none of this? No clicking on it, you know, and talking to y'all. We have to go out if we're gonna make a living. You know how many people making a living online now? Everybody's like here. If online shut down, internet shuts down, social media shuts down, it's gonna be a lot of naked people out here, man. They will be thoroughly exposed. Really exposed. But another topic. Back to the matter at hand. We're gonna wrap up this book today. We could have stayed on what we were. We could have. Why we come over here? I like our other spot better. Why we come over here? Let's go back to the private page. All right, let me find something else. Uh-oh, this might be interesting. Oh, you know, I forgot to do the action step in the other group. So, but y'all the same ones here. So did I tell y'all about the parrot who went to church? Did I tell you about that? I didn't tell you about the parrot went to church. So the night before, Parrot was at the club hanging out with people and partying, and it was turn up. So the next day, Parrot had to go to church. They told him he had to go to church. Parrot said, I don't want to go to church. You got to go to church. So the Parrot got to church. He looked around. Preacher got to preaching. He got to hooping. He got to jumping up and down. Folks in the church started hollering and screaming. The Parrot hollered, the roof is on fire. We don't need no water left in it. And the lady grabbed her by the mouth. Just shut up. We in church, why you saying all that? He said, well, hell, I'm looking around. These same people at the club last night. So I thought the roof was on fire. Y'all confusing me. It's the same folk. I ain't know. So it's the same people over here that was over there. So we might as well let me go and wrap that part up. That the part we was talking about. I didn't do the critical thinking question. Here's a critical thinking question. Embarrassing me out there. I know. I look around, I see all y'all was there last night. I thought it was an extended party. All right, here's a thinking question. Could you be one personal development seminar? Could you be one? No, hold on. Could you be one? Could you be one personal development seminar or workshop away from becoming a millionaire? Could you be? And then the action step is the one business skill you must learn is public speaking. This skill is worth a fortune to any business person or entrepreneur. Make a decision today to overcome your fear and develop this powerful skill of personal development and speaking, public speaking. So, all right, middle class doesn't connect travel with wealth. The world class knows travel connects them with the wealthy. The middle class doesn't connect travel with wealth. The world class knows travel connects them with the wealthy. The masses' only exposure to cultures outside their own is what they read in books, learn in school, and see at museums. And you can throw in YouTube now because this book was out before YouTube. So people can go on YouTube and travel. Matter of fact, I traveled to Essex, UK the other day because I wanted to see where my people were from. I also traveled to the Netherlands to see how Mr. Lau doing it over there. On YouTube, you can go and see the world. So all you do is type it in and go see what's going on. I saw some stuff in Essex, UK. I got to talk to them about though. I'm not finished with. Yeah, it's real nice, but it was somebody else I saw. But I got to finish with the Netherlands. I kind of started with that. And Mr. Lau is in, how it's pronounced, Utrecht. Okay, you watch the fireworks around the world. Yep. Is it Utrecht? I know I found it. Utreicht, something like that, Netherlands. So the masses' only exposure to cultures outside their own is what they read in books, learn in school, and see at museums. It's not lack of interest, but lack of money that keeps them from traveling the world and experiencing other cultures. The rich know the strategic advantage being well-traveled offers in both business and life. Wealthy people love to talk about exotic places they visited, different cultures they've encountered, and amazing people they've met. It's difficult to build a connection with the rich without similar experiences. Being well-traveled is a non-linear wealth building strategy you'll never learn in school. The masses travel for fun, but the world class leverages the knowledge. Traveling gives them by building rapport with others who can help them. What I found out when I was, at one point traveling a lot in different countries, I found out how people really look at the U.S. all the stuff we being fed here, is conditioning our mind to look at us like we just. But when you go to these other countries, when they start talking about the U.S., it's a different story. A whole different story. And what's amazing is they know things that people in the U.S. don't know about our country. Why is that? They block us from getting that info. We're the greatest, the latest. It's another tool that helps them strike deals and build contacts quicker and easier. So while the middle class sees travel as expenditure, the world class sees it as an investment. The more they learn about other cultures, the more intelligently they can converse with others of influence at business meetings, social gatherings, and charity functions. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. In other words, people they perceive to be like them. So you get around the wealthy and they start talking about countries and places they travel to, you can't say, I ain't been nowhere. Don't say that. If you haven't been any place, go to YouTube and go to some of them places and, I'm not saying lie, but I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. So you got to be able to do that. In other words, they perceive to be just like them, sharing uncommon experiences and being versed and being well versed in the world cultures. Now, I'm gonna tell you this. I have to give credit to network marketing, because network marketing has taken me places that I probably wouldn't have never gone. Winning these trips and being, hitting these titles, and then you get to go to certain trips and go to certain places. I tell you, I would have never gone. And my favorite place I talk about all the time that I wasn't about to go. I really wasn't about to go. And my dumb self almost missed it. I mean, first of all, let me back up and talk about some of the places I've been just through network marketing. Tahiti. That's a 16, 17-hour flight. That property was beautiful. Now, when you go off the property, and I wanted a second time, but I'm like, I'm not flying 17 hours back. I had, at the time, my mother-in-law went, and she might have took a friend of hers. But they, Tahiti was at that point, it was really the only place that had those the little huts, whatever you call them, on the water. Now they got them at other places, but I think at that time Tahiti, Bora Bora, and the other place we went to, they were the only ones that had that, and we had that. It was on the water. It was nice. I videoed all that too, man. And but been there. Switzerland, another trip with the company, hitting a title. I probably would have never gone to Switzerland. We were in Montreal, Montreux. Is that how it's pronounced? I know it's Montreux. And we stayed in the hotel directly across the street from the Miles Davis Museum, which was, Miles, that's where he would go a lot, in Paris and Switzerland, because he said the people in the United States didn't treat him right. so he could live over there a lot and live like a king. But that museum was nice. Switzerland was, at least that's where they have the I think it's the Montreux Jazz Festival every year. Clean. And what I noticed about that too was that when we got back to Atlanta, I remember coming around from the airport and seeing all those billboards. And it kind of let me know that, we're in a really capitalist society, because those billboards just looked like money was, like arms were coming out trying to grab your money. It's like every billboard is like, when we were in Switzerland, we didn't even see billboards. It wasn't even any billboards. I never noticed that it wasn't there until I got back to Atlanta. And I'm like, Jesus, we coming around by the old Braves Stadium, where Meats used to have that BMF billboard. All them billboards there that looked like they were just grabbing money. Switzerland, I didn't. We took the train from there to Paris, stayed in Paris for a week. That was not a company trip. We did that because we was over there. But my place, and there's a lot of other ones, my place that I almost didn't go to is Monte Carlo, Monaco, the French Riviera. I mean, I was not going. Donnie, I love that place. It's expensive though. When I remember the guy that set up the trip with the company. He said, we always went to Hawaii, which was, to me, after one trip, it's enough. I can go to Miami and be on the beach. But we went to Hawaii a bunch of times. And he said we could take 600, 700 people to Hawaii, but to go to Monaco for the same cost, 100. It's expensive. It's and the time that we went, we stayed in that hotel. If you watch this video with Mace and 50 Cent called Window Shopper, that's in Monte Carlo. As a matter of fact, that's the hotel we stayed in. And they said when we got there that a week before that, Mace and 50 Cent was there doing that, filming that video, Window Shopper. They was in the Ferragamo shop, which is attached to the hotel. I walked around, Monte Carlo like the streets are so clean. I mean, it's just like no crime. It's, I'll tell you something funny I did though. When we went there, I didn't know when I first got there how expensive it is, and that ain't nothing but millionaires there. I should have known, because every taxi was a big body BMW. I mean, a big body Benz. Every taxi was a big body Benz. They ain't have no like a little yellow taxi. They all, and the casinos were full of nothing but multi-millionaires and billionaires. They got a battleship that's down on the water that we walked down there because we thought we was going to take a tour of it. At that time, they stopped us when we got near. I said, we just want to see what a battleship looks like. They said, you can't go on there. I was like, why? That's a live battleship. And the guns were pointing in the air. He said that because there's so many billionaires live here, if certain flights come up, they'll shoot them down. No plane is supposed to fly over this area because they got so many billionaires there. I'm like, oh, let's go back up the hill then, because I thought it was, we go, like go see a submarine or see the battleship, because it was like, okay, let's go check it out. I'm checking that out. We went in the casino. We saw one of them James Bond guys. James Bond had about 10 different. It was Sean Connery. Sean Connery was, in there gambling. But again, network marketing took me there. It's a lot of other places I've been to on my own, but I would have never gone to Tahiti. I would have never gone to Switzerland. I would have never gone to Monte Carlo, but that's the place, man. Monte Carlo. Go to YouTube and go to Monte Carlo. Go to YouTube and go to the French Riviera. Go there. It was so crazy. And I watched that window shopper video. Every place they filmed that, we were there. Like the restaurant, sitting outside. I remember all of that. And I remember saying, if I had missed this, what was I thinking? But most people don't, travel. I always, I've been to, the typical places. You know what I'm saying? I traveled a lot of places, but I haven't been there. So, by the way, that's Jay-Z and Beyonce favorite spot. I noticed Magic Johnson loves to go there. I mean, he goes there on a regular basis. I've seen some. Oh, I was about to tell you a story and forgot. So I didn't know it was that expensive. So I walked in the store, me and a couple of partners of mine. And so I told the guy, I said, do a little shopping here. There's some nice stuff in there. I said, here's my debit card. Do me a favor. I'm gonna pick out some stuff. Look at the jackets. I'm gonna look at some shoes and stuff. And when I get to like $5,000, I need you to stop me. He said, okay. So I went and tried these shoes on that look real nice. He said, you like those? I said, yeah. He said, stop. I was like, what? He said, those 4,900. I was like, oh, give me my card back. We out of here. I'm like, they too tight anyway. I'm not gonna wear them shoes. I'm like, what? $4,900? They balling over there, man. I mean, it's like they ball. For real. I put the shoes on. I'm like, my partner's like, yeah, those look nice. He said, stop. What? 4,900? Those are, let me get my card back. Before I pay 49, I probably would have to be, now, I would have to be at least 10 to 15 million a year before I drop $4,900 for a shoe. You know what I'm saying? But some people do it. Some people do it and not even making 200,000. I wouldn't, because I got my card back. That was my only shopping experience. Everything else was like that video. I was window shopping. I'm not going in there. It looks nice in there. I love that. But let's just take a picture. $4,900. So after all, who but rich can afford to visit all these places? The only other group outside the military are the up and comers who know this strategy and invest in their future by educating themselves. The bottom line is, if you want to be rich, do what rich people do. And one of the things they do is educate themselves by experiencing as many aspects of life as possible. They hang out with other rich people and talk about it. If you want to be rich or richer, be one of the people they can talk to. Be one of the people that they can talk about experiences and travel and life stuff. Robert Ingersoll says, I would rather be a beggar and spend my money like a king than be a king and spend my money like a beggar. I guess if you're a king, you can't spend your money like a beggar, but I guess you're talking about being tight. But if you're a king, you got unlimited riches. But I know it's a, metaphor, analogy or something, but I get the point. Kind of like what I said. No, it's not. But I guess if you're talking about traveling, I believe, that's the best investment if you're traveling. Like, I believe kids, let's say between 20 and 30, they should do all the traveling they can. Just get it out of the way and just have fun. Because that's when you go to these other countries, you really realize how less important a lot of things are. Less important a lot of things are. I mean, even going to Tahiti and going off that property in Tahiti and seeing how those people live is like, $1 a day, $2 a day or something. But when you own the property, that's a whole different story. All right, let's read this one. Middle class has access to the social skills of the masses. World class has access to the social skills of the most refined among us. So, should I put that there? The average person has been trained to enter. Oh yeah, let me say this too. The other thing about traveling, I saw an interview with my favorite poet, which is Jay-Z. And he talked about how people in Brooklyn, he said most of the people in Brooklyn have never been to Central Park, which is like 18 blocks up over the bridge. So when you go over that Brooklyn Bridge, it's about 18 blocks up in New York City. And most of the people in Brooklyn never even been over there. They don't even leave Brooklyn. How? But that's typical for every city. You got most folks don't even go on the other side of town. If you live in this is strange to me too, man. I guess they scared or something. But Hampton Roads, like Hampton, Newport News, Virginia Beach, those 5 cities. You got people that don't even want to go to the other side of the bridge because they don't want to go underground, that underground tunnel. They won't even go to the other side. That blew me away. I was there for I've been there plenty of times to do meetings and stuff like that, but I was there for like a week one day, and we were doing meetings everywhere. We going back and forth, running through the tunnel, and it was people that, when we said we doing a meeting on the other side, I'm going over there. Really? And see, it's no way you're going to change your life. You can't just change your life financially like that. Now, I know somebody saying now you can sit on the internet and you can make a lot of money sitting at home. Yeah. What they call that, a hermit? You can do that. Because I was even thinking at one time, I was like, I don't know. But, you hear, I love listening to Gary Vee. He talks about that kids coming out of school right now, instead of going in deep debt, they could move to somewhere like Mississippi, get a big 3-bedroom house there, because they're on the internet all the time. If they need to travel, they can just jump on a plane. But the cost of living compared to being in New York, they can get $1,000 house there compared to you know, a $8,000-9,000 house in New York because you just want to be in the mix. But if you're gonna make your money online and you're just gonna be doing that, you can travel anytime you want and go. You can move anywhere. You know, that's just an opinion, but it kind of makes sense. But you know, and I don't think you're gonna be a hermit. You got, you know, certain people in the house and y'all moving around doing business or something. But just opinion. So the masses, I mean, the middle class has access to social skills of the masses. World class has access to the social skills of the most refined among us. The average person has been trained to interact and communicate with the middle class. You know, in that zip code. In school, we are taught manners. We learn most of our social skills through the experience of mixing with others and observing their behavior. Most people never go beyond this level of social skills training. The rich speak a language of their own and have unwritten social rules few outsiders understand. People who attempt to enter their social circle and are quickly rejected if they don't follow these rules. The rich speak a language of their own. This isn't elitism, as the masses have always claimed, and Hollywood has satired. It's simply a matter of wanting to connect with others who understand their unique world. It's like visiting a country where you don't speak the language. It's fun, but difficult to connect with people with whom you can't communicate. Yep. Millionaires live in a different world than the middle class, and their mindsets are very different. The masses are just trying to survive and avoid pain, while the great ones are chasing their dreams and always creating new ones. One of the favorite topics of a middle class gathering is complaining about the lack of money and how expensive things are. The conversation is considered taboo by the world class. Complaining of any kind is frowned upon. And the only talk of money is usually reserved for charity functions, art auctions, or other settings where it's discussed in the context of giving it away. Only the newly rich are unsophisticated enough to discuss money at a social gathering. Unsophisticated. And this is sometimes overlooked but never endorsed by the more experienced members of the group. The best way to learn the social skills of the wealthy is to get as much exposure to them as possible. I don't know no rich people. I do. Get exposure, the most exposure. I told y'all, I don't know if I told you this when I was back in the day when Russell Simmons came out with his book, Do You. I think it's Do You. So, you know, that's when you kind of waited for the day that came out and then you went to the bookstore and bought it. Like you used to do albums and, you know, CDs and stuff like that. So I went to the bookstore and I asked the lady, I said, is that book with Russell Simmons out? She said, no, it'll be here in 2 or 3 days. I said, okay, can you notify me and let me know so I can come pick it up? She said, yeah. This is a sister that, you know, it's a sister. So then she said, why are you buying that book? He already rich. He ought to be giving them out. I'm saying to myself, That's why you back there behind that counter making $4.99 an hour. That I said it to myself. I didn't tell her that because she looked like the one to come across the counter and get the swinging. I'm like, hey, I ain't about to, we ain't about to be fighting up in here. So I'm like, that's why you buying these rich folks books, they ought to be giving it out. I said, well, I'm buying it. I want to learn from them. I want to learn what they have in their head, what they give it out about their business success. I want to learn from them. And I really believe Do You by Russell Simmons is one of the best books I've ever read. Now, I know who he is. I know y'all about to say, I know who he is. He another version of P. Diddy. That's why he got out of the country and probably won't come back. If he come back, well, I guess they got this new law now, which is so crazy. What is it called? The New York Adult. I just saw that too. The New York Adult Prevention something. Yeah, it's like if you do something foul to somebody, you only have a year in New York to sue. And now if it goes over a year, you can't sue. And they passed that, and the expiration of it, I mean, it started, well, yesterday on Friday, you could still, well, I guess it is a statute of limitation. You got a year, but they call it the New York something. Y'all can Google it. But Friday was the last day that you could sue if it's over a year. So I got mine in yesterday on Diddy because Diddy bumped into me at Justin's in Atlanta, and I ain't like the way he bumped into me. That was like in 2012. I just didn't like that. So I got my lawsuit in yesterday, right before the cutoff. So when Diddy pay me, y'all might not see me no more. I still remember Justin's in Atlanta, right there on Peachtree, 2012. He bumped into me, and I ain't like that way. He's almost, So I called my attorney, and I told him that we had to get it in yesterday, or the, statute of limitation. So I got mine in. But yeah, that Do You book is an excellent book by Russell Simmons. But I know he got out of the country quickly because he was known for. That don't mean you can't learn something from his book. That book was really whoever helped him write that book. That person, really had him come out in that book. It was really, you could really, business stories and how patient he's a guy that talks about how patient it is to, when you start a business, you just can't think it's just gonna blow up like that. Some of his businesses took 8-9 years before they saw what they really needed to see. And some people just, would have shut it down or something. But he's like, I had committed to it, and I knew that it was gonna take work. So all right, that's it, folks. We done with this book. I hope y'all read it. I really don't just say y'all read it when I read it. Don't say, I read to you all. Don't do that. Don't do that. And on the next book, I'm gonna put it. It's in your purse. Okay, take it everywhere. Yeah, you can keep reading it. You ain't gotta. Definitely don't stop reading it. Like I got it in my car. Shoot, a few books. I've been rereading a lot of stuff, like like I'm parked and I'm waiting on somebody. The 7 Habits, that's a deep book. You have to keep kind of, reading it, but 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen, I can't think of Stephen's last name. but you know, his son, Stephen, you know, the guy who did the I don't know what we read next. That's why I said we'll post it tomorrow. Stephen Covey. There you go. Stephen Covey. I actually did a training with his son on stage in Utah. There was a bunch of people there too. And it was you know, it was a lot of Asian people that were there too. And I had never done this before, where they had to translate. So I had to speak, then stop. You know, I was on a roll, I'm flowing. Then they got to translate what I just said to them. Then they start laughing out loud, like, you know, you know, they had to translate my jokes to them. So I'm waiting. I'm there on the stage waiting, and then they just bust out laughing. I'm like, then I had to start back. Yep, it's a good book, Miss Brown. But we done here today, so all she wrote, pen and the pencil broke. We still on the mental fast, so might see y'all this evening.